Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference to preview the Merseyside Derby. We'll start off with Vinny from Sky.
David, to start with, obviously we now know that this will be the last ever Merseyside Derby at Goodison Park. I just wonder what emotion that creates in yourself, if any.
Yeah, I've been here many years, but it was a while back since I've had my last Merseyside Derby. But they've always been difficult games, I have to say, over my years. So Liverpool have always been a tough opponent. But at Goodison it always felt a lot easier because we had the support behind us and we had a fantastic crowd. And I think this game will be no different. And strange it was a rearranged fixture, which obviously I've had the chance now to come and manage.
Do you have then a favourite Derby memory from Goodison?
Well, I've got a couple of Derby memories. I've always remembered Lee Carsley's goal, which we won here, and Andy Johnston. So, but it's always been tough, as I said. But over the years, Liverpool have been a difficult opponent for us, and I'm sure they will be tomorrow night as well.
It's 41 Goodison victories for each side in Merseyside derbies. So, is the desire to get that win, is it exaggerated somewhat because it is the last?
Of course we want to win, but let's put it in perspective. The most important thing is that we get points to keep ourselves in the Premier League. That's the most important thing. So big game, looking forward to it now. Hopefully the players will be ready as well.
Have you had to do much to pick the players up after Saturday?
No, I don't believe I did have to do so. I thought there was lots of things on Saturday we could take some things from. We hit the inside of the post twice and it doesn't go in the way, comes out, and then we hit it again, third time from a free kick, one kicked off the line. So there was things in the game which we could take positives from. Obviously we're not that long in, but we've had a couple of good wins. But as I said many times, it'll not always be straightforward. And last Saturday wasn't that straightforward. But I still thought there was a lot of good things to take from the game.
What do you feel is the key? Because there's going to be a lot of emotion from the fans on the night. They're going to be greeting the coach as well. I don't know whether that helps the players, or do you have to remind them that they need to keep a cool head in a Merseyside atmosphere like that?
Well, I've been involved in some of these Merseyside derbies, and it's been incredible when it was Jamie Carragher and Steven Gerrard, and it was a case of who was going to kick who first, really, and how it went. So I've got big memories from that, and. I don't think you can. The games now are played in such a fashion where you can quite be like that. I think the refereeing's differently nowadays. But hey, it's a great derby. It's been a brilliant game over the years, and there's many people enjoy these games.
Just that impact as well that the fans can have when they're greeting the coach like that. I don't really know or remember whether you've experienced that. I don't think I have here. I've had it in other countries. I've seen it quite a bit in Spain, etc. But it's not something that our culture normally has in this country. But look, all we need is the support behind us, which they have been since I've come back in. I've got to say they've been absolutely brilliant. They were great again at the weekend, even though we weren't at our best. But they've got to enjoy it as well. They want to see their team play well. They want to see their team win more than anything. And we've all not got many games left, and I know everybody in the stadium's doing their best to make it really memorable, and partly for everybody who watches football as well, media as well. We want to put on a great spectacle at Goodison and hopefully a good game. Any chance of getting Mykolenko back? I would think he's possibly the only one you could. He started some training today, so hopefully he could be available. That's probably the main one. Yeah. Just looking at Liverpool, do you notice much difference under Arne Slot compared to what they were like? Well, they had a fantastic coach in Jurgen Klopp, who made Liverpool so good over many years. You saw how often they were competing with Manchester City for titles and cups for many years, not generations. But I think most people would be amazed at how well Arne Slot's done. If I'm being honest, I think coming in after Jurgen, but I have to say he's done a great job, hasn't he? Hard to say when you're sitting in this seat, but he's done a great job. He looks as if he's done it very smoothly, and he's got the team playing well. Thanks, David. Good luck. Cheers.
Thanks, Vinny. We'll go to Fraser at Premier League Productions.
David,
hi there.
It'll be your 23rd Liverpool derby in charge of Everton. Obviously, Arne's first. Do you have any recollections of what the emotions were like for you first time you did it?
I'm trying to remember the first ones, but
I can remind you, it's 2004.
Was it? How did we go?
1-0 win.
Was it?
First one that Everton had in 5 years.
Fantastic. I'm glad you told me that. I can be positive about it. No, I think going back that far then was a different time, and we were probably just getting ourselves back into being competitive more as a Premier League club. And I think the gap between the two teams at the moment is probably as big as it's been for a long time. So it's something I have to try and bridge the gap and start bringing the two clubs closer together. Well, I certainly need to bring my club closer to their club if I can. And but at that time, I think the derbies were a bit more competitive. Liverpool were still always difficult to overcome. But I think it was only in the last couple of years where we did finish above them in the Premier League. So it's something we have to try and aim to do again. The only reason I say that is because Liverpool are a really good sort of guide. Because if you're finishing above Liverpool, you're probably finishing really high in the league.
And in terms of the sort of message that you would have to the fans in terms of making sure that there is that massive support, because this is such a special game, what is your message to them? Is it just carry on doing what you're doing, or are you looking for a little bit extra?
Look, we want extra from the players, never mind the supporters. The supporters have been fantastic since I've come back, certainly, but I believe over the time I've been here, the Goodison's always a really difficult, intimidating atmosphere, difficult place to play. I've had some great nights here as the manager. I hope I've got some more still to come before we finish here at Goodison. And the supporters have always played a huge part. They really have. They've been great for us. And they've had a difficult period, but hopefully they can see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel coming in the future.
Thanks, Fraser. We'll go to Julia.
Hi, David. It sounds like the way you're talking about this, and obviously everyone's excited this game did get to be under the lights. Has your time away from the club increased your fondness for these types of games under the lights at Goodison?
Look, it's increased my fondness as a manager and the thought of playing it. But undoubtedly, we've got a difficult opponent, so we have to play really well. Everybody's found Liverpool a good side this year. We'll be no different. But you've seen many derby games throughout the world, different places. This is a special derby for me because I've just been told I've had 23, I think, before this. So I'm looking forward to it greatly.
One of the bright points of the weekend's game was Charlie Alcaraz coming on, and I think already he's sort of become a fan's favourite very, very quickly just from the way he came on and threw himself into that game. Has he done enough to potentially start this, or because it's a derby, does that make you slightly more concerned about starting someone who's so new at the club?
Well, he done enough by his performance to start the game. Whether I do, that's another thing. I think that I think sometimes when you bring people in, you never know how long it's going to take to settle. I got to say he started and settled very well in the game. It was only one game, mind you. And the other thing we have to put on his side is that he's got Premier League experience, so he's not completely new to this, so he knows exactly what it's like. He'll be new a bit to the stadiums and whether we be at home or away. So from that point of view, that helps us. But the decision will be made tomorrow, whether we start him or whether we don't.
Given, you've said the refereeing is a lot stricter now maybe on this, and there was the penalty given away at the weekend. I think this remains the most red-carded fixture still as well in English football, this one. Do you have to just remind people that the emotions of the fans will be very high, particularly on this one with it being the final one at Goodison, and just to contain those emotions on the pitch?
I think the players now are much more aware of the way the refereeing is nowadays and what they have to do. But let's be fair, it's part of why you're building the game up, because you're wanting it to be built up to be emotional. You want it to be built up to be explosive at times. That's part of derby games, and when you're a football supporter, I'm a football supporter, that's what I want when I go and watch. You want to see people being competitive, and you want to see action and it mattering to the team you're supporting. So we have to do that. We'll have to be aggressive. We'll have to be difficult to play against. We'll have to show the qualities which we can at the right moments.
And finally from me, Seamus remains unavailable, I know, but he's still playing quite a big role in it as a captain around the club, and he knows this fixture more than anyone in your squad. Do you use him ahead of this to talk to everybody about it? And what qualities is he bringing to you while he's not playing, I guess?
Well, Seamus's leadership and what he's had to go through probably over the last few years, he knows more about the club than MD in the situation. And he's somebody who is incredibly respected amongst the players. Certainly hugely respected by myself and the staff, because we brought him in as a young boy and seen him develop into where he is now. Unfortunately, he's not available to play yet. So yeah, he's always in and around the dressing room. He's always with us. He's always acting like a good captain should do. And no, we're grateful to have him.
Thanks, Julia. We'll go to Matt at TalkSport.
Hi David, you've been involved in football a long time, you've been involved in many derbies. What is it that makes this one, Everton against Liverpool or Liverpool against Everton, such an appointment to view?
I think it's a great footballing city. It's always had incredibly good players. You know, at different generations there's been players who played for both teams and have come and graced Goodison over the years as well. And it's always been a game which I think, even when I was a young boy, you were always looking forward to the derby game. It was always a huge game. So I think that from being a football supporter generally, I think it was always one of the games you would be really interested in watching.
When you go back into your memory bank from your first spell here, is it those games, the wins, the FA Cup one when Gosling scored, and more than right at the very forefront for you?
Yeah, but like I've got to say, and I've been on a few defeats as well, so I'm not kidding myself on here, but I have to say that we've always been sort of chasing Liverpool, and probably no more so than now. So it was always great to get a result, because it was always difficult to do it. But again, I always go back to my last 2 years that we eventually finished above Liverpool twice in the league, and it took us years to sort of prepare that and get us ready and get a good enough side to be competing against Liverpool, more regular and better. And as you know, probably at this moment we've got a few years to go before we're going to be ready to compete against Liverpool again.
The fact that it is under lights, as you've mentioned, there aren't many more games against them that are going to be under lights. Does it make it that extra bit special?
It does, yeah, because I think that our memories of some of the evening games at Goodison's terrific. You know, most clubs will say that, you know, their games under the lights are always special. So Goodison, with the atmosphere, the tightness to the pitch, you know, probably the old stadium as well is something which is really important. You know, you don't get it so much now in many of the stadiums we go to. So having that sort of atmosphere and that feeling around you, hopefully will drive us on.
And obviously a lot of the squad have been part of a team that beat Liverpool fairly recently last season. Is that belief there that from the players that can be repeated again?
Well, our belief is there that we've actually got off to a pretty good start, but we're also mindful about the level of games we've got coming up and the teams we have to play. So we'll go into it and we'll show everything we possibly can to get 3 points.
Thanks, Matt. I'll go to Carl at the Press Association. Games past the mic, boss.
Good. David, you spoke about wanting to close the gap to Liverpool generally, but what do you do to close the gap on the pitch tomorrow night? Because when you look at the two respective squads, you know, in terms of the money that's been spent and the quality it's available to, there's obviously a big gulf there as well.
Yeah, there is. There's a gulf between what's going on and everybody's aware of the situation here and the difficulty. Everton had a great result against Everton last year. Everton had a great result against Liverpool last year. Sorry. So football, that's the way football works. And I've actually seen a bit of unpredictability in the Premier League this year with some of the results. So you have to go out there and try and turn the result around and make sure that we're the winners.
Right, what the qualities they required tomorrow to back against the Liverpool side in your donkey?
Well, you need all the qualities that we've got. You know, it's quite easy to talk about commitment and all other ones, but I think that we've got to try and look to add quality and do things better, play better generally, retention of the ball better than what we've been doing. But I think there's things that we are doing things better. We're creating more chances. which means if we could get some chances, then we'll need to be clinical, which we need to do more than we've done. So I think there's a lot of the basics here. I feel if we do well, then it'll help us greatly, not just in this game, but from now to the end of the season. Yeah, I don't think there's any real update on the dates. I think I'm still waiting on them getting these sort of time scales to where we are. I would not over thinking it's still, but it's part 6 weeks from the 2 on from that would be my gut feeling it no.
Great. Ben, on Sassel, G.
Yeah. That's exactly right, because we're really short in our squad at the moment. Our numbers. Losing Mangala's just men. We've also got Tim on the way back, so he's a little bit in that situation. We were a bit wary about how we were going to get minutes into him, but without overplaying them. So, but Tim's beginning to get himself back and ready to play. Jimmy's done a really good job in the 2 games, but yeah, you're right. He picked up a few bits and looked as if he was tiring near the end of the game. So it was the right thing to do to take him off. He does, yeah. Well, I think that's a question for another day. I think I've got my focus on tomorrow night's game really, and I think most of those decisions won't get made until we've probably got myself rightfully safe in the Premier League. Yeah. I think what I've seen in training, Michael Keane looks as if he's a cleaner finisher. You were in a stage in the game, we only had 10 minutes to go, and I felt as if if anybody was going to get me a goal, it would be Michael Keane more than Sheriff.
Some of the other questions, Peter Middle. What?